So, a hurricane's on the horizon. That feeling, it's a mix of anxiety and uncertainty, right? Well, knowing what to do can make all the difference. In this explainer, we're going to walk you through a clear, step-by-step guide to navigate the storm, from the crucial days before it hits, all the way to the long road of recovery after. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Let's just take a moment to respect what we're up against. A hurricane is a massive, swirling engine of wind and rain, fueled by warm ocean water. When you look at an image like this, you can literally see the power in its structure. The calm eye, the intense eye wall, the sprawling rain bands. Understanding this isn't about being scared. It's about being motivated to prepare the right way.
Now you're going to hear the news talk a lot about categories. They're talking about the Saffir-Simpson scale. It's basically a 1 to 5 rating based on wind speed. And here's the key. Anything category 3 or higher is considered a major hurricane. That's the point where the potential for really catastrophic damage goes way up. So pay close attention to that number. It tells you a lot about what's coming.
So here's our game plan. We've broken this down into 5 parts. First, we'll cover bracing for impact. Then, safety right after the storm. Next up is the cleanup, then navigating all that paperwork. And we'll finish with the really important topic of mental health. It's the whole journey, from start to finish. All right, let's jump right into part 1. Bracing for impact. This is all about the things you can and absolutely should do before the storm even gets here. What you do now is what really counts.
Your number one job? Build a 72-hour survival kit. You have to assume you'll be completely on your own for at least 3 days. That means water, a gallon per person per day, food that doesn't need cooking, a really good first aid kit, and all those essentials you forget about until it's too late. Flashlights, a radio, and way more extra batteries than you think you need.
Losing power, yeah, it's pretty much a given. So how are you going to keep things running? You've basically got 2 choices for generators. Gas generators are cheaper to buy, but they need gasoline, and that stuff gets hard to find real fast. Solar generators cost more upfront, but they're silent and they run on the sun, a huge plus, especially somewhere like Jamaica, where fuel supplies and the power grid can be unpredictable.
And what happens when your cell phone just says no service? You need a plan B. A satellite phone is the gold standard for sure, but for a more budget-friendly choice, devices like Zoleo let you send texts using satellites. And hey, don't sleep on the old-school option. A simple battery-powered radio will connect you to local emergency broadcasts from places like the ODPEM. It could be your only link to the outside world. Okay, let's fast forward. The wind and rain have finally stopped. It's quiet, but you are not out of the woods yet. The danger is far from over, and what you do in these next few hours and days is absolutely critical. Your first job is simple. Listen up. Turn on that battery-powered radio. If you have any kind of internet, check the updates from your local emergency officials. They're going to have the real, accurate info on everything, from which roads are flooded to where you can get help. Whatever you do, don't rely on rumors.
All right, let's tackle one of the biggest, most immediate questions you'll have after the power goes out. What about all that food sitting in your fridge and freezer? Is any of it still good?
When it comes to food safety, there are 3 magic numbers you need to burn into your brain. First up, 4 hours. That's it. If the power's out for more than 4 hours, the food in your fridge is probably not safe to eat anymore. And that's only if you've kept that door shut.
Now for the freezer. If your freezer is about half full, your window gets a little bigger. You've got about 24 hours. But again, every single time you open that door, you're letting the cold out and shortening that timeline. And finally, if you have a freezer that is packed solid, you're in luck. You get about 48 hours, because all those frozen items act like one giant ice block, keeping each other cold. So let's run that back. 4 hours for the fridge, 24 for a half freezer, and 48 for a full one. Got it? Good.
And water? Man, water is just as critical. Do not, I repeat, do not assume your tap water is safe. When the water pressure drops, it can actually suck contaminants into the pipes, so you have to wait for officials to give the all clear. If you're out of bottled water, you can make your own safe supply by bringing it to a rolling boil for 1 full minute.
Okay, you're safe, you've got some food, you've got clean water. Now you step outside and see it. The overwhelming task of cleaning up. This part is filled with hidden dangers, so let's talk about how to tackle it the smart way.
Look closely at this slide, because it shows you the 2 types of problems you'll face. On the left, you see a downed power line. That is a hard no. Do not go near it. Assume every down wire is live and deadly. That's a job for the professionals, period. The tree debris on the right,
That's something you can probably handle yourself, but you still need to be super careful. You have to know the difference.
You know, it's sad but true. Disasters can bring out scammers who prey on people when they're most vulnerable. So you've got to protect yourself. If someone just shows up at your door offering a deal that sounds too good to be true, it is. Never ever pay for a full job up front, and avoid paying in cash if you can. Get at least 3 written estimates, and always check that they are licensed professionals.
All right, now for the part that can be the most frustrating of all, the mountain of paperwork. Insurance claims, aid applications, replacing lost documents. It can feel like a second disaster. But we can break it down into manageable pieces.
When it comes to your insurance claim, think of it as a 4-step mission. Step 1, call your agent right away. Don't wait. Step 2, document everything. And I mean everything. Take pictures and videos before you touch or throw anything away. Step 3, make small, temporary repairs to stop things from getting worse, like putting a tarp over a hole in the roof. And Step 4, keep every single receipt.
Now, if the storm is bad enough to be declared a presidential disaster, a whole new level of aid might open up through FEMA. To apply, you're going to need your documents ready to go, tax returns, your deed or lease, that kind of thing. And here's a pro tip. The IRS can actually be a huge help. They can often provide copies of lost tax records and might even offer special tax relief.
And finally, let's talk about what might just be the most important part of recovery, but it's the one we often overlook. Let's talk about mental health. Rebuilding your home is one thing. Rebuilding your sense of peace and security is another thing entirely.
This quote on the slide, it says it all really. Getting through a disaster is incredibly traumatic. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, to be sad, to be angry. You have to give yourself and everyone around you a little bit of grace. Emotional recovery is a marathon, not a sprint.
This is especially true for our kids. They look to us to see how they should feel, and they're incredibly sensitive to all the stress. So what can you do? Be there. Just spend time with them. Reassure them constantly that they're safe and loved. Try to keep some routines going, like a regular bedtime. It's an anchor in all the chaos. And please turn off the news. Create a safe space for them away from all the scary images on TV.
So we've covered a ton about how you can prepare and recover as an individual, as a family, but that leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? It's not just about one house. It's about how we build entire communities that are ready for this. Communities with stronger infrastructure, with smarter planning, with better support systems. How do we get to a place where we aren't just surviving the next storm, but we're ready to thrive in its wake?